Mm-hmm. Ta-da! Welcome, welcome! We are the Wayward Inquisition. Chamberlain Jonas here for another World Building Plus. Let's do a little audio check. I can hear me. That's all I need to know. Sweet. Oh, that's loud. Get my background tunes. The Davy Crowder. Let's see. Let's also bring up, yes, Viet and 5e tools just so I can look at races, just in case. So, as the name of this title stream suggests, we are going to talk about cultures and the races that come from them. Come with them? To them? Maybe all of the above. Let's go to, we'll go to Life Will. So, not a sponsor, but I use Trello. It has a free version. It's kind of a note-keeping app thing website. And it is pretty darn handy. Just gotta say. Let's see. Let's go to races. I hope you all are doing well and that some nice weather is finally coming your way. We've had some pretty nice days here recently, even the rainy ones. Love a good rainy day. All right. Elves, here we go. You know what? No. Let's make a new tab on here. We'll call it Culture. Which might end up confusing me, but hey, it's all good. Because, yeah, I'll keep the races page because that will give me a good... it's kind of like the go-to quick summary info, but then the cultures one will have the more in-depth, like, yeah, this is how they act. This is how they eat cheese. When they make it, they just use a fork, and whatever you get, that's what you eat. But to kick it off, we're going to start with the Moon Elves, which is kind of my variation on the Drow. Historically, the Drow are shunned, live underground, and are a matriarchal society. They, it is woman dominant. And so let's deep dive into how would that work? What little nuances would they have? And for me, I have in Life Will, I have the Moon Elves, which are albino elves that they are the ones that live underground. And then there are the Sun Elves that live topside. And they are, what's the word? They are melanin, so they are just, jet black skin and more readily accepted into society because we live in a society. That quote will haunt him for the rest of his days. Oh, 5e Tools is having some troubles today. That's okay. Me too, buddy. Me too. Oh, hey, there it goes. Alright, so, Drow, Moon Elves. So obviously, they are a queendom. I've taken two different approaches to how their authority and leadership works. I've gone the standard route of having just a singular matriarch that rules over everything. But then I've also, in the Elysius Chronicles, in that world, that one they have what is known as the Seven Sisters, and it's a all-female drow council who they are not actually sisters, but when you are elected into it, you get the title. So yeah, we'll put in here. In Life Will, it is a matriarch. Oh. Put an extra A. There we go. And yeah, how I have been doing it is that men they're not just like second class citizens, they're like fourth. It's more, it's not even just that the drow, like how I picture them and the moon elves, it's not that they just think that, oh yes, the men are just inferior to us women. It's more than that. It's like they hate them. So they don't just keep them around in the normal sense. It is like begrudgingly you get to live because you have basically this one purpose to populate populate the land. So the men do all the hard labor. Basically, let's see, maybe they probably get like 1 day off. One thing I did in Life Will is that they had met a couple drow, and I think the first group was all women, and they talked at a normal tone, of course very very pompous and arrogant, and why are these men talking to us? But then whenever they met any men drow, they wouldn't use their full voice. They would talk softly and quiet and low. Yeah, men are not allowed to use their voice. And then obviously punishments are more severe on the men. Now, okay. I have had some men be in the military. Because on one hand, I was like, no, the military should be all female. Because one, why would they why would they waste their time training these men? Which I still might go with that one. But then the other thought process was, well, they hate them so much. Why wouldn't they send them out as, cannon fodder, essentially? So yeah, when it comes to crafting a culture, you have multiple routes you can go. Some of them most of them I will pull from real life cultures and all that. Let's see. Yeah, we'll put that here. So the Moon Elves, their style is Egyptian. Which I think the Egyptian aesthetic just works so well for elves. I mean, pretty much anything does. Because elves are just the best. But then the other thing is, whenever I was making the elves, I was like, okay, what accent, what language would they use for Elvish? And I went with Italian. So these elves look Egyptian and then speak in Italian. I learned that technique actually from The Legend of Zelda because in Zelda there are the Gerudo that are a very uh, like nomadic desert tribe. I would say very Middle Eastern, like Persian. I would Persian style. I'd like to say. And then for their theme song, they did like a flamenco, upbeat kind of dance song. And it's like, yeah, but it works. If you are confident in what you assign to things, it will come off as feeling more natural. And of course, there are just things that just meld better together, like Goliath's sounding German or Russian would make a lot more sense to me than if you were like, yes, here's this Goliath, and the Goliath starts talking with like a French accent. It'd be like, oh, that's that's unusual. Hmm, let's see. So yeah, we got that. We also got to think about how they had and have their culture from topside, because at one point the Drow and Moon Elves, they did live on the surface. So you have to think about, I keep saying you have to, you really don't have to. That's the beauty of it, is you can craft them in any way that you would like, and go as in depth or shallow as you choose. But yeah, if they were topside, they would have probably a few more different little ritual things. Um, I'll get back to that one because that one's a bit more foreign to me than if they lived underground. they wouldn't have sun. They wouldn't know what time of day it was, but people people like to know the time of day because it helps you plan and coordinate things. So I mean, depending on the world, yeah, they could have some kind of clock. I'm thinking that there's probably there's like a fungus or flower, like an odd kind of flower that blooms. And is there a word for opposite of bloom? Because in the morning they oh, it blooms, oh yay. But is there a word for whenever they close up? Hmm. Let's see. Flower. Oh, wilt. Well, that's more like decay. Maybe bloom is not even the right word I'm thinking of either. Oh well, it's all good. We're just chilling, hanging out, being calm and crazy at the same time. So yeah, we'll say that that blooms, which signals that it is morning. I'm gonna say that it's morning for morning for them. I suppose they could try to do something where like somebody stands outside and is like, "Hey, yeah, this is going on, so it must be this time of day. Pass it down." And yeah, we'll just stick that it is morning. You could do something where it's like when it blooms, that signals that it's night, or that it's morning for them, but it's like nighttime or the afternoon. But yeah, we'll keep it simple and that it matches the morning of the day. Mm. Hey, hey! Welcome in, sir. Yeah, we just in working with the drow here, I have come up with that since they live so deep underground that they decide what time it is based on like a flower or a fungus that kind of blooms. Mm, let's see. They Yeah, it would be. Let me put this up here. Uh, how do I word this? I just had it. Yeah, men are owned by the by the house lord. So men wouldn't get an education unless their owner allowed, and even still, it would be very minimal. Because, yeah, that's why waste time educating this moron. Mm-hmm. One thing. Let's see. Yeah, men. Let's see. Did I have that? Yeah, they're used for hard labor. Um, they're not allowed to use their voice. The men could. I imagine that in this like really harsh matriarchal society that the drow kind of seem to have, that men can speak but they can't use like their full voice like I am right now. They would have to talk softly and low. With that, since they are more the hard labor, um, yeah, let's put that note right here. Um, yeah, sex is for procreation only. Yeah, only for the men. The This might sound a little weird, but I imagine in this dominant society that it's not that the women would all be lesbians, but they would get intimate with each other because you don't do that with a man. You do that at the specified time of the year to further the population, and that's it. So in the interim, at the bathhouse, yeah, get freaky and doink with your neighbor. Oh wow! And I even came up with something without even realizing it. Yeah. So yeah, how if because they would still marry, but yeah, it would be more like I am selecting you to be my forever breeder. So, be of good stock and and do what you're told. But I don't yeah, I like the idea that they would limit it um to like a specific time. Let's see. Maybe throughout the year there might be like a special occasion like okay we can do it tonight. Hey, much like real life. For yeah, there we go. Let's also save this so I don't lose all the notes that I just put in there. That is I guess the one like a downside, it's really not that big of a deal, to using Trello is it doesn't auto save like a Google Doc will whenever you type stuff in. But I mean, it's not that hard to click a save button. Okay. Underground. Yeah, the punishments for men would be way more severe. Mm, you know what? I'm gonna say, yeah, no men in the military, but they could be used for like uh, small security. Cause yeah, how I picture the drow and moon elves, like how they would build their towns and whatnot underground in the Underdark and all that, is it wouldn't be like, oh, we're gonna go see them. We enter into the grand chamber and they're all in this one spot. No, it would be like, okay, we found this nice big chamber here. We'll make this one the capital. And then, oh, hey, there's this little outcropping here. Yeah, we can fit a small town's worth of people in that one. Oh, keep digging. What's over this way? So it would be very honeycombed of a city layout. So it would be no wonder why whenever people would just go missing from the village, like, yeah, he was gonna go talk to the people in the other town nearby, but I guess he never made it. Let's see. We'll call that, yeah, I actually like that honeycomb settlement in the cavernous under underdark. Mm, mm, yeah, okay. So how would they treat outsiders? So if traders or adventurers were to come in, I would say they would be lenient to a point. A very small point. Yeah, like only speak when spoken to. Men cannot start a conversation. Wow, I butchered that one. Come on. All right, there we go. That took me a lot harder to spell that than that should have. That's that grave brain of working third shift. Um, yeah, speak when spoken to. There was a moment recently during Life Will where they left one of their companions with the Drow matriarch to, you know, do the deed. And when they came back, you know, obviously there were women guards outside of the chambers. They were actually led over by a man, and the guardswoman, knocks on the door. The queen answers, and she's in her birthday suit. in all her glory, and so the the male drow is just like staring at the floor, looking away. And obviously, when the players weren't like, "Oh yeah, I think one of them was like, "Yeah, I'll follow suit and mimic what this guy's doing," but one of them was like, "Yeah, what's going on? What's the big deal?" And the drow did not like that, so it got a little iffy. But the luckily the matriarch is a bit fond of their adventuring party, so she lets some things slide. Um, Actually, yeah, let's put that in here. The men cannot look at the queen at all. Oh, actually, those notes need to go up here, not in the outsiders section. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, 8125. Have you been working on anything? Making any characters? Any world building yourself? Let's see. Anything else with outsiders? They to not cause any more troubles, because I mean they're already banished into the Underdark. On one hand, you could be like, yeah, they have nothing left to lose, so they would take things to the extreme with issues in a heartbeat, because, yeah, who cares? But I do like to think they have a little civility, still in there. So if troubles would arise with outsiders, they would probably banish them first. Not just kick them out. No, they would just go to, okay, you can't ever come back here again. And then, of course, if things escalate more, they will gladly kill you. Yeah, banishment first, then kill. Mm, let's think about foods. What would they. Uh, Typically, in the Underdark, you're going to have fungals, probably a few odd plants. Mm, oh, insects. Probably some kind of like crawdad. I like to, because, there are typically in the settings that I've played in and led, there's always some underground streams and rivers that they come across. I mean, they're going to have water in at least in some form. Uh yeah, it was in Wow, my brain. Yes, treachery, a governor's secret. When we were in the Underdark there, they had like a mushroom drink that everybody kind of partook, at least of the drow. And it was good that we did not. So yeah, with those other underground streams, I like to think there might be like little crawdads, probably some kind of oyster, clam. Mm, yeah, they would get some meats. It would be like mole rat, some kind of tunneling animal, and then occasionally maybe a like a deer wanders down and gets lost. Mm, would there be any like unique things? Like we fought some crochet horrors, hook horrors as they're normally called, in the Underdark. And on one hand, it's like, oh yeah, well it's a big beast. You got some meat in there. You could carve that up. But no, it's like I think a lot of the monster creatures you wouldn't be able to eat their meat because science. Mm-hmm. Good old science. So because of how kind of limited they are with food sources, I would say they would probably focus more on like stews and soups. Because those allow you to stretch resources more than like, yeah, here's your steak dinner. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Let's refresh the music there. Just make sure YouTube doesn't do the little, hey, you still listening there, buddy? Oh, well, duh. Of course, there would be the religious aspect. Well, I say oh, duh, but it depends. You could have them be a atheist society. In D&D, they tend to follow Loth and kind of worship her and all that good stuff. Yeah, I don't think I've ever thought about that with my moon elves, if they worship anybody in particular. Because in Life Will, the reason why the moon elves are banished into the Underdark is because they got a bad rap of ratting out to the draconic overlords during the Age of Chains so that they could get better treatment. And people hold grudges. But then the other kind of major thing was the rulers, once when the Age of Chains was over and the mortal races got their freedoms and all that good stuff, the councils, came together and said, "All right, blood magic, it's pretty volatile, it's dangerous, it's a little gross. Let's we need to banish it." And so everyone was like, yeah. And the moon elves were like, no. Kiss my grits, you all. And of course, the rest of the world wasn't too happy with that. So they said, all right, get out of here. Go on, get. So, because of how blood magic, just is, it's it's a very personable one. Not personable, personal. I guess it could be personable, depending on what you summoned or unleashed. But yeah, because since you use ear blood, there is, um, I think even within their society, there is a kind of a forbidden technique of using other people's blood for your blood magic. Oh, yeah, actually, let's add that up here. Blood magic. Forbidden technique of using other blood. But since, yeah, I don't think I finished that train of thought. Since it is personal, and you gotta bleed to make it work, I would think they would have over time have taken that on as, you know, like a good grief, a self-worth kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? So it'd be like, yeah, the gods, what would I need them for when I can do this myself? Aha! Mm, whoa, what's going on? Oh. What else? What else about this elven culture? So they are elves, so they do live a long time. Uh, they use blood magic. So how would they approach death? They're yeah, yep, that sounds like something they would do. When one passes, family and close friends, probably more so the family, partake in the blood of the deceased. Yeah, they wouldn't eat them. No. But they would harvest the blood from them and consume it. And then the body, because space is limited for them as is. I don't see them having graveyards. They would have like a gravestone that each time somebody passed, they would just carve that name onto it. Of course, that's only for the women, you see. The men would not get recognition in such regard. Oh, Jebediah died? Heh. Oh well. Oh, Felicity died? No. Our paragon of our society. What will we do without her? So with the bodies, I don't see them. Well, actually, that's a good point because I was talking about how they used to live topside. So maybe that is one tradition they took and carried down here. And even though space is limited, they'd be able to find a nice outcropped area that they could um, put enough ventilation into. Yeah, they're gonna burn the bodies. Burn the bodies uh, in a ritual chamber. Would they burn the men too? Hmm. Yes, but it would be uh, unceremoniously, where you know women get a single funeral pyre, men get mass burn. Okay, this is coming along nicely. Okay. Mm. Yeah, we'll put this under the religious tab here. That no marriage. And then, of course, having had interacted and still getting some interaction from the topside world, there might be the one offer that, she's like, you know, the men here suck, but this guy that I chose to be my breeder, he's not so bad. I'm gonna marry this fool. Oh, she would get shunned. And, maybe not shunned, but you know what I'm saying. They would look at her with curiosity and a bit of disgust. Mm, blood magic, atheist. Let's see, religion. Yep, we went over education. Gone over the authority and the military. I think that's a good. Yeah, that's a good start. I can always work on it more elsewhere. Don't want to bore with you all. Just of me sitting here thinking, ugh. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Just a quick thing to go over. So let's go down. Ooh. No, that's fine. I was just thinking that this was all on one page and I can't do another subsection. So this page will get really long with each race's cultures and stuff, but that's fine. I can work that out later. So yeah, the drow and my moon elves were the main ones that I was thinking about when I had the idea for this. Uh, but I did have another thought last night about everyone's favorite, the Leonins. And actually, I think, yeah, I have the Leonins and Tabaxis in the same, you know, category and group of culture, society. Um, how did I have? I don't. Yeah, they really haven't ever. The players haven't really interacted with that group. So I really haven't thought about how they're uh, nomadic. They are nomadic. I know that much. But you know, how would they do? Who's in charge? Is there anyone in charge? Is it kind of one of those things where it's like a leader? Well, I guess you could say it's this guy, but it's not like he's in charge of us. We just kind of we tend to go to him first. Whoa, laptop, what did you do? You goober. I didn't want you to open that as a second browser as another tab, you ding dong. There you go. Oh, yes, our sponsor. Thanks to Jessica, Will, Merida, and Vi, Courtney and I are treated to Olipop, a SpongeBob branded pineapple paradise soda that has stuff in it. I think it's supposed to be like better for you. Did I hallucinate that? Hmm. Yeah, they know that we're big SpongeBob nerds in here. Well, Courtney and I, and so every now and then, the Patrick's little ones will come out with like little SpongeBob drinks or those little Krabby Patty gummies that you you can get. Here we go. I'll have both of these open. So the races for life will. I think I put. Oh, whoa. Calm down there, Jethro. Ah, yes, here we go. Yeah, so in life will I have there's a group of races that are called wanderers. Um that's really just more for my mental note that it's like these are the races that are in the world that don't have a area to themselves. Which actually I need to change that one. Originally, dwarves did not have uh, kind of a nation of their own. But I'll leave it there because maybe I'll stick with that. Because not every peoples is gonna have their own thing. But yes, all the animal races. So yeah, it's not just the Leonin and Tabaxis. All the animal races are called wilders. Race is the only Oh, right. I changed that between Life Will and Life Will 2.0. But this actually still works. So yeah, the all the animal races like lizard folk, tabaxi, leonin, etc. If a player chooses to play as one of them in 2.0 here, they will pretty much be the only one of that race on the continent. Because all of the animal races are actually on another continent over here, and will, at one point during the campaign, there will be a war as they come to invade and take over, expand their territories. So actually, let's change this. Wilders. Did I make a note of what they... Okay, stop doing that. Just scroll down the page. Not sure if it's my laptop or if it's Trello's website itself tonight, but it's acting a little goofy. Technology sure is great when it works. Okay. Oh, that's right. I made the Tritons Persian. Yeah, Goliaths are Russian. Orcs are Japanese. Oh, so I need to make their thing like from scratch. I don't have any notes on them. That's perfect. All right, so humans, they're the standard British society, knights, king, all that good stuff. Oh, I could use that again because I mean, how I picture Leonins talking, I imagine them sounding pretty English in nobility because Leonins are just cool. Uh, but yeah, let's branch out. Let's do. Actually, yeah, let's go to Google Translate. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing with this too is there's only so many accents I can do, so I might pick a language that I really have no idea what it would sound like. Oh, they could not speak in. Well, I mean, they wouldn't speak in common because they're from a whole other continent, but. Actually, yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll skip the language part, but is there anybody that I would want to base them on? So yeah, we have Egyptian for the elves. Yeah, tieflings don't really have a set thing. They're like, they're the typical rapscallion group where their clothing is and architecture and everything is just kind of shambled together. So we've done Persian, Russian. Yeah, the Dragonborns are very tribal because they don't wear armor because their scales do that for them. Yeah, I basically I made halflings. Yeah, they're American. That's what it. That's funny. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, let's go. They're gonna be a very war-based society. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We could go. We could go Viking for them. That would be cool. Let's try and picture a Leonin in different outfits. Yeah, I haven't used Chinese, and there's a good difference between like feudal Japan style and I guess feudal China style. Mm, yeah, let's do that. Ooh, if I can spell aesthetic. Aesthetic? Sure, that looks more right. Thanks, technology. Time is it? 9? Excellent. Ooh, this will be a good time to do a little advertising to those watching. First off, thank you for tuning in. I know it's not the most exciting thing to watch my bald head and just watch me think, but I appreciate you being here, and hopefully you pick up some things that might help get inspired by some of the random ideas and thoughts that come out of my mouth. But if you want to be more inspired, this April 11th, which is a Saturday, yes? Yes. So not this coming Saturday, but the next Saturday. In Louisville, Kentucky, there's going to be the Louisville Con, and we have a booth there, so you can come see us. We'll have our merch. We can autograph things for you. We did it for some people before, and it was wild. So yeah, come and we'll do it for you too. But I know what you're thinking. You're going, Jonas, I'd love to go to this convention, but you know, there's gonna be art and knickknacks and trinkets. How am I gonna get this stuff and carry it and come talk to you all? Well, we got you covered with our new and improved, not really improved because it's the first ones we've ever had, but we have purple baggies for people that feel like they would be sturdy enough to carry convention items in them. And they're purple, which, if you haven't noticed, it's kind of our thing. I'm forgetting where it is, but yeah, just look up Louisville Con, April 11th. I want to say it's in like this little convention area near like the Honda World and that whole little area over there. But yeah, get your tickets, come see everybody, come see us. It'll be awesome. We'll have a good time. And then also, if you live or just near the southern Indiana area, at TCB, not sure what it stands for. It's a kind of a nerd store in Clarksville, Indiana. April 25th and 26th, that's a Saturday and Sunday, they are hosting a Spring Fling D&D one-shot extravaganza. And they've asked us to run some one-shots there. I emailed them the other day and have not gotten a response, but I have joined their Discord, so I will ask in there because it would be good to know when we would need to be there, what time slots are available for this shindig and all that good stuff. More than likely, I would say just prep level 5 characters. Yeah, oddly, I have not really seen a lot of advertising coming from them about it, which is a little concerning, but it's hard to do business things. Anywho, that's my little advertising moment. Back to the video, as they say. All right, wilders, animal peoples. A slight interruption once again as the playlist I was listening to ended. So let's just pick another one. Gotta have my tunes. There we go. Yeah, I like this Chinese theme aesthetic for the wilders. Out of curiosity, so the Japanese had samurai, but the Chinese had shoguns? Is that right? I felt like there was something that it was like they always sounded similar to me. Oh, let's see. Oh, shogun is also Japanese. Good to know. I did but didn't know that. So who, Chinese military ranks? Oh, let's do, ancient. Because, yeah, I don't want to know about their modern ones. Boring, lame. Similar units, eras. Well, you're not giving me a hierarchy here, buddy. It's what I asked for. Hmm. Well, that was unhelpful. But in the meantime, let's do let's just see if anybody's done art on this. Can you show me a Chinese themed Leonin warrior? Yeah, it's not really what I'm looking for, but you tried, Google. Okay, so they're gonna be a militant society. Let's go with they are led by a war council. There's not just actually they're probably let's go with a combo. It's the war council and uh, grand. We're gonna call him the Grand General for now. Let's see. They would have um, war. Oh yeah, they would be like a class-based. Is that right? Yeah, society. Um, so like they would assign jobs to you based on your race. So like the lizard folk, they would be like, okay, you're lizard folk, you're gonna do this. Tabaxis, you all do this. Leonins, you all do this. Yeah, so like if you went through their towns, you would only find like lizard folk blacksmiths because of their cold-blooded nature. They can, deal with the heat of the forge a lot better than the others. So that is their duty. They if you are born a lizard folk, you are a blacksmith. Mm, ooh. Um so yeah, it would also be let's go with socialist. As yeah, they wouldn't have currency and anything like that. you're given your rations and everything, you know, each day, and then if you become unuseful, then they deal with you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, education. So, education. You'd only study your your assigned area. So like the blacksmiths, they wouldn't be like, "Oh yes, here's your astrology lesson for the day, and that's why we scholars look to the stars to determine this and that." No, there'd be none of that. The scholars would do their thing. Food? Yeah, they would. I mean, yeah, they'd be hunter gatherers, farming. We'll just say uh, society, standard society economic things at play. Say, yeah, no currency. Mm, religion? Blacksmith astrologers. They see the sparks in the sky and in the earth. That's actually that was actually a pretty neat little concept. You could make you could make a character off of that. That way. So religion, yeah, just because they're militant, I would see them, you know, being like, oh yes, see, there's this god of war, and we are his children. Yeah, so according to their religion, they have this war god, because one of the main things religion is supposed to do is tell you how life and all that was created. So this war god made them to be warriors to wage war. That is their purpose. Food, education, religion. Um, yeah, I wouldn't say, because yeah, really the whole thing. It's like Actually, let's put that note in here. Oh, how does that saying go? Yeah. Might makes right. So yeah, I wouldn't see them really having any sexism things in there because, you know, the women tabaxi, they'd be like, "Oh yes, you know, you all are very light on your feet, so you will make excellent scouts. That is your job. That is what you do." Turtles, you all are really slow and heavy. You maintain the camps, you know, you wash the dishes and clean the clothes. Uh oh, death. Uh how would they approach that? Well, warrior's death is the actually, you know, I mean, I've said that they're a militant society, which I mean is pretty true. But since it's almost more on usefulness in a way that yes, war is their thing, but I also see them being like, oh, you know, just because this warrior died, that wouldn't be the highest honor, you know, to die in battle. It would definitely be up there in their society, but I would think they would also be like, yes, uh, Gorgok here served in the, you know, served the blacksmithing's guild impeccably throughout his life, dedicating to his craft. And so when he would pass, you know, he would get this grand honor because he served his purpose. Ooh, that's a good note to make. Serve your purpose. Would they do? They. I mean, funeral pyre is my favorite kind of funeral, and you know, kind of death practice. It's just, it's cool. It carries such history with it, and it sort of just makes sense because, I mean, burying your dead in like a cemetery is great and all, but over time, like we are sort of experiencing, you know, cemeteries then have to go in. I think I read that, you know, they go in, will dig up somebody after some amount of time to refresh the plots or something. I don't know. But, you know, the issue is there's only so much space to bury the dead. But I'm going to say that they do. They, yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. Good job, brain. Okay, hear me out. So when somebody dies, they encase the dead in uh, some, like, maybe they have some kind of, and maybe it would even have to be a liquid thing. I'm sure sculptors and whatnot could find ways to do this. But so, when you go to Rome and Greece, you would see those Greek statues of, Achilles or somebody standing proudly, made out of marble and whatnot. So they would have that, and inside of that would be the dead body. So how they would do that, I'm not entirely sure. But I could see that maybe they could carve like the pieces and then put the body in it, slap the two pieces together. Uh, I mean, since it's fantasy, you could have like, oh yes, we have this. I mean, liquid concrete, and so when they die, we put them in this thing. We position the body in a triumphant way. So, like a blacksmith, they would position the body like he's raising his hammer to strike, and then they would pour it over them, get it out, smooth it down, make it look nice. I I really like that. That was good. Okay, so we have death, religion. Kind of went over food. I mean, it's not like it's gonna be something as limited as like with the drow. Education, um, leadership. Oh, do no, they don't use magic. That's right. Um, yeah, no magic use. If by chance, someone uh, is born with magic, they are immediately killed. Yeah, we're gonna have them view magic as just this super unnatural occurrence that it's a mistake. We're not worthy to have that kind of power. That's left to the god, the war god. Okay, magic. Um, yeah, I think that's all I got on that one. Of course, over time, I can always think of little nuances within the society. What time? Ooh, we got 30 minutes. I can potentially work on another one in 30 minutes. Well, yeah, I mean, you got that one. It was like 9-ish whenever you started working on that one. All right, who's next? Let's do. Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. The Fae. So I recently kind of had this thought about the Fae, because before and it with D&D it gets iffy. Like uh, some beast races are considered Fae, but then like others aren't. It's it's weird. And then there's some. I want to say there was something like, oh yeah, they were Fae, but then since they've lived outside in the mortal plane, for so long, after the generations, they've become just a normal thing, which is, I don't know, it's weird. But I had this thought of, the Fae Wilds is, it's kind of like a dream copy of the mortal plane, but it's like the light version of it, where Shadowfell is, it's the same, where it's like basically it's supposed to be like a copy of the mortal plane, but it's the dark energy. At least that's how I've always seen them. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I probably am, which would be extra sad because I'd listened to several videos over their lore and how they are. So I should know that. But, you know. So the Fae in life will, much like the standard thing, there's the Feywild separate from the mortal plane. But what I had was something happened, so the Fae had to move to the mortal plane. And they were able to scout out, this swarthy area to put everything in. It came at a big cost for the Fey Council and all that. But now they are physically in the mortal plane, but they're not. I don't see the Fey as so much physical, mortal like people. If that makes sense. So to me, they're like a illusion society. So I had this thought of like, yeah, the Fae, since they're basically fake, this flower guy could live forever. It's like, oh, that's pretty crazy. And then it's like, well, there's usually like some kind of court that rules the Fey Wilds. So what is their purpose then? And so I had the thought of, yeah, what if they are like the strongest representation of dreamers, and they uh, literally govern everybody that's in the Feywilds. So Rose Knight Steve, yeah, he's been serving as a royal guard for over 150 years. Well, he's got to go. And then they all decide, they vote, and then he just vanishes. Steve's gone. They're like, okay, let's conjure a new illusion of let's make him a dandelion this time, and so it's like they would have immortal lives that are very fickle and fleeting, because at any moment the council could decide, yes, we made you Dandelion Knight, and so you have this free will to an extent, but you're just not serving like we thought. So, and then they're gone. Replace him. Illusionary. Council. wilds. There we go. Sorry, I was doing a lot of talking and then had to catch up with the notes myself. Okay. So yeah, they have these long, fleeting lives, can be ended at any moment. Oh, and that would cause a pretty interesting uh, societal influence, because since they are like the plane of positivity, everybody in the wilds, I mean, they're always singing, dancing, they stay upbeat, but also in the back of their heads, they would be like, I could die any moment. This could end. So how, yeah, I'm not really sure how that would affect things, because they basically wouldn't be allowed to feel the dread of their impending doom. Mm. Oh, so maybe the Fae wasn't a. Well, I mean, of course, fleshing this out is still good, but yeah, I really don't know where to go from here, because educationally, since the council basically spawns these people into existence, it's not like they would have to learn. They, yeah, I don't see them forming attachments either. They would still, they enjoy people and love interacting with people, but I can't see them making attachments, because it's like, oh, I love you, water elemental person, and then poof, she's gone. Yeah, no attachments, but still love people. Um, and yeah, I mean they would still have fighters and whatnot, just because the Feywilds get attacked by dark creatures and whatnot. Hmm. Well, I think I'm gonna move on from that one. I really don't know what else I could add, but I like it. That turned out really well. Let's see, who else do we got? We got the animals. Um, hmm. Yeah, I have that that Hexbloods are the a half breed race from tieflings. So in life, will there's no wow. Yeah, there's no crossbreeding between the races. So, like, if a human and a orc get together, it's not going to create like a half orc or, something like that. They will give birth to either a human or a orc. But tieflings are the only race that get that mix. So you'll get a little Harengon, rabbit person with horns and a longer tail. Mm, I mean, I've kind of have already fleshed out the orcs. I mean, it really is just take Japanese society and onto orcs. Very, honor bound. We went over the elves. Oh, we did the moon elves, but I haven't really done anything with their counterpart, the sun elves. 20 minutes? Yeah. Plus, I'm getting a little bit better uh, with each one. Let's see, sun elves. Um, they also have the same because they're the moon and sun elves are sister cousin peoples, so they share very similar styles and everything. So they're they are also Egyptian aesthetic. Also Italian speech. Um, so moon elves are matriarchal. I could do the opposite and have this one just be a patriarchal. But since they are on the surface, they would interact more with the other races and would see how they do things, and cultures do influence each other a little bit. Mm. And then also maybe they would have seen how things were in a one-sided society. So yeah, they do the sun elves do everything equally. So if there's the Grand Admiral of the fleet, well, there's not just going to be the one. You're going to for that one armada, you would have two Grand Admirals, one male, one female. Dual partnership. Male and female. So, like, in a lot of things, it's like, yes, the king, he's the one in charge, and the queen is like a little bit of a step down, but still high royalty. So you better do what she says as well. Now, in this one, it is they go for each one. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's really good because, uh, so in a lot of stories, it'll be like, yes, there's this travesty, this devastation going on in the world. Sauron is rising again. We need your help. And there's the race of people that are like, no, we haven't decided on if we're gonna get involved because it's not our fight, and but for them it would be, oh yes, we're discussing on if we're going to join, but the king and queen are arguing with each other, and neither will succeed to the other one, and so now it's locked in a stalemate, which basically means it will never be voted on, and so there will be things in the society where it's like, well, we really need to pass, some kind of bill to get this waterway fixed, but we just can't agree, and so we don't do anything. We'll get around to it. We're elves. We have plenty of time. And so yeah, everything uh is partnered. Two teachers in a classroom. Yeah, two blacksmiths running the forge. Yep. Hey, great news, everybody! The the two mayors have finally decided that yes, they're going to put the funds towards expanding the waterway. And meanwhile, the crops in the fields are so dried out and dead. No, don't worry about it. Yes, they may be dried out now, but just give it 200 years and we'll have it back up and going in no time. So let's see. So yeah, kind of already went over education. Religion. They do everything equally, so I can't see that really affecting religion that much, uh, other than if they were like learning about other gods from the other cultures, and just like how they get the gods in their own culture. It'd be like, oh, yeah, well, we have this new male god of war. So he also has a sister that is also the goddess of war. Uh, oh, what's that word? Um, Man, I'm telling you, my brain. I do have a interview tomorrow for a different job that is like 7 to 3:30, which will help my brain out a lot because whenever I first started night shift, when I did this one security job, I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna make me more tired, of course, because I'm gonna be staying up overnight, and I'm really not a night owl. But the one thing I didn't anticipate is how the change in schedule affects my mentality of I can't, even though it's like, yes, I've gotten this sleep, my brain still is just like, hey, we can't process this. What are you doing? But okay, so there's a pantheon, and okay, oh, that's the word I'm looking for. Polytheistic. Yeah, yeah. The 7 to 3:30 will be really nice. Because it seems like a lot of places that I've been looking at, it'll be like, oh, hey, this one looks good, and it'll be like, yes, 12-hour shifts, and it's like, what is this? What's with all these 12-hour shifts? Like, calm down, dude. And it's in New Albany, so it'll be closer for me than I work in Clarksville now. So, I mean, it's not a huge difference, but still a nicer commute. It does pay less than what I'm currently making, but really, really, all I am looking for in a job currently is just to make money for the Wayward Inquisition. And so if this does work out, which would be awesome, then I'm good. But then if it doesn't, then when we depart, which would be awful, I would find, a good big boy job and then just go ham and make all that money. 950. Okay, we're almost there. I do too. Yeah. New Albany's it's great. It's not crowded. Man, Jeffersonville, it's gonna get crowded over there. They've been building all of these houses and apartments like crazy. Uh, I'm glad they had the forethought to start working on the roads as well to accompany the increase of all these people and where the heck all these people are coming from. Okay, so religion. Oh, how would they deal with a death in society? They could. Oh, it's when creating a culture and a society and all that good stuff. Um, Not every throw in wrongness into the culture. If they do everything right, one, that's unrealistic. That just life doesn't work that way. And then two, it's kind of boring if Of course, it all depends on the story and world that you're going for too. Maybe you want this place to be the utopia, and maybe that's the idea is that the adventurers in the story are trying to get to this utopia. I make great money, but I don't like the job. That that seems to be the common thing I've been seeing with a lot of people now is they have this job that was good and the uh sorry to those watching, if you are new to the Wayward Inquisition, we do digress a lot, and so I'm going to at this moment. But because yeah, we're talking about jobs, you know, it's all good. We're just here chilling, hanging out. But the uh, the pattern of this happening all at the same time is too weird. Where I mean, it was like back to back. I would talk to friends and they'd be like, "Yeah, work was going great, but then," and it was just like, okay, somebody is pulling the strings and is making these companies poopy on purpose. And because, like, yeah, my younger brother, his job was going well, and then they introduced this new program to use, and it made everything worse. So before they could process their accounting stuff, it was like 5-10 minutes per invoice. And then once when this new program came in, it was like 30 minutes per invoice. And then they're like, "Well, why is it? Why are you all getting so backed up with all these invoices?" And there's just this disconnect between corporate and what actually works. Because he said, "Oh gosh, it was too it's funny in the worst way." So he goes in with into a meeting with all these corporate guys and tells them like, "Yeah, this is how things worked before. This is how you all want it to be now. Yours doesn't work. Let's just go back to the old way." It's not, I mean, it's not like you can't. Uh, but he's talking with them. They're discussing, and he said, "Yeah, he said, of course they're all kind of older guys in there." And he said there was this one like old guy, and he was like, "Well, when you get these invoices in the mail, just start sending them to this department." And it was like, get it in the mail? What year do you think this is? Nothing comes through the mail anymore. It's all digital, through email. And so yeah, it's wild. We just need a factory reset. Put the Amish in charge. Make everybody farmers again. Oh, I got 4 minutes. Okay, I'll revert back real quick um, to finish the thought on death in this society. So, as I was saying about, throwing in some things into the society that to them is, I mean, it's normal. It's what you do. What do you mean? You outsiders are the freaks. We're the sane ones. But in this society, since everything is duality in in marriage, which I mean this has happened in real life too, if one spouse goes, they kill the other one and throw them, well, she's dead. You bonded, so you go too. And and so that, yeah, that causes tension because much like in anything in the upper crust of society, like with the king and queen, they would be, arguing about things of like, yeah, if I could just take out the king and then I could be in charge and then I could get things done the right way. But then it's like, but then if he dies, then they're going to kill me too. That's, yeah, that causes for an interesting thing. I'm gonna have to, yeah, definitely need to delve a bit more into the Sun Elves. Just a little bit. I mean, I've basically covered everything else. And oh, actually, that's a good thing I can think of during work tonight is uh, topics in society. So, like how I started breaking it down into, religion, death, education, maybe crank out a few more of those So then when I go to work on other societies and cultures, I can pull from that. But it is that time, my good friends. I am so glad that you all tuned in and chimed in. I am here basically every Thursday night with really how this stream started was I had the idea of being a uh, live assistant. That if you were working on something, you know, you're trying to make a character, but you're new to D&D, you don't know how this works. So you could Google stuff, you could watch some videos and listen in, but you don't get that interaction. Well, here I am. You could chime in and be like, "Hey, I'm trying to make a barbarian. It's my first time playing D&D, and I just don't know how them there dice work to make my barbarian just this big strong boy." And so that's what I'm here for. Maybe you're a writer and are making a book, and you're working on your pantheon, and you're just stumped. Like, yeah, I want the gods to cover multiple topics. Like this one is life, art, but also war. How do I make that work? And I can answer that to the best of my ability. You know. Went over that stuff earlier. Be sure to check out our VODs. We got plenty of stuff for you to watch here on YouTube. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcast. We got sci-fi, we got fantasy, we got a western. So yeah, we got a good little plethora of things for you to listen in on. We haven't done one in a while. We also have a talk night called Beep Boop Bop because Courtney and I are SpongeBob fanatics, so of course we named it after that. And yeah, during Beep Boop Bop, we will talk about pretty much just about anything and everything. We've narrowed it down a bit more to focus more on like nerdum, but yeah, those are fun. If she can't make it, sometimes Patrick and I do Man's Country, in which it's basically the same, but it's just two dudes being dudes. We have a Redbubble, which if you haven't heard of this website, I hadn't either until we started doing this. Redbubble is this awesome website where you can upload art and then they will put it on just about anything. You can get a hat, t-shirt, coasters. The dice don't wobble the right way. Mm-hmm. Those dang dice, they giveth and they taketh away. And the prices on Redbubble are actually pretty good for getting basically custom-made items. And it ships really fast, and the quality, I mean, we just can't express enough how good the quality is. I mean, you can see that notebook behind me, that clone trooper helmet there. Yeah, Courtney made that because she's a badass and is super awesome. Man, that's so good. But yeah, I know it's a bit far away from the camera, but I mean, even from that distance, I mean, look how good that looks. Yeah, the quality is insane. And if it's not up to snuff, they won't ship it and they won't charge you. So yeah, Redbubble, and if you order from there, we get some revenue back, which is nice. We also have a PayPal. You need the beep boop bop to happen. Oh well, yeah, we should. Yeah, this coming Monday we should have one. But yeah, we have a PayPal. If you just feel like sending us a couple bucks, $2, $1, be mucho apreciato. Yeah. So before I ramble on about nonsense, do what you know how to do. Like, subscribe, share, and thank you, once again, thank you for tuning in. I will see you next time, and as always, remember that freedom always crits, brother. Bye.